Hello, West Ham Network. It's Holly, and today we are going to be chatting about the potential of Paqueta having one more season at West Ham. While those credits run, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, make sure you've subscribed, and take a peek at everyone else's thoughts in the comments section down below on everything related to the Paqueta Saga. Let's go. Yes, West Ham Network, it's Holly, and today we're going to be talking through the Paqueta Saga, the latest updates, and what could be happening next. Now, as we know, the reports are coming out that Paqueta has been found innocent, meaning he will be able to continue his football career. But it leaves a huge question mark over what the rest of his career is actually going to look like. First of all, I'm delighted for Paqueta because I can't imagine the ongoing pressure that this must have put on every single aspect of his life, from going from the form of his life at West Ham and fans being disappointed that his release clause wasn't higher, to having a deal coming from City for £80 million, personal terms being agreed, to it all collapsing with this FA investigation being announced, the deal completely disappearing, and as a result, his form dipping significantly, fans getting frustrated with him, and his whole life must have just felt like it was crumbling for something that it now looks as though he was completely innocent of. So we now find ourselves here, and that's what we're going to be talking about. We've got a player that we know has got this ability within him, but he's not been performing at the level or the consistency that we need at West Ham. And there are two main points that I want to bring up here. First, that both Paqueta and West Ham have been done incredibly dirty with this investigation, ruining what would have been a great business move for the club and a great career move for Paqueta potentially, while creating a crazy amount of uncertainty. And secondly, what we should do next, in my opinion anyway. I'm keen to hear yours, so drop your thoughts down below in the comments. Now let's start with the investigation itself. He's been under investigation since August 2023, and he was charged by the FA in May 2024 for allegedly getting booked on purpose, which they defined as for the improper purpose of affecting the betting market. And this was relating to matches throughout the 22-23 and 23-24 seasons. Now, what happens is you get charged, and then there's the hearing, and then that's where you're found guilty or not guilty. Obviously, even having that charge over his head was enough for players not wanting to touch him with a barge pole. So his hearing over the charges finished around the end of April, and it's since been reported that the ruling is largely in his favour, leaving him effectively in the clear, but also leaving us waiting for a long period of time after that to see what the wording was and how it was actually reported. And regardless of what happens here or when it's actually said, the impact from this whole situation is far from gone. We've gone from talking about a player that was reported to be getting a lifetime ban to basically saying, whoops, we shouldn't have done that. We made a mistake. And the implications of this on all parties involved has been huge. So it's a shambles. And there are big question marks as to whether or not West Ham would be able to recover some money from the destroyed move due to the FA investigation. But for now, there isn't a more concrete understanding of whether or not this is something that we could get money back for through compensation, despite what it has cost us, because it's very much a move was going to happen, but it hadn't quite happened. It was just about to happen, and then it all went wrong. So I feel like it'd be something that was very difficult to prove. Now, Mick Brown has told Football Insider that West Ham are still prepared to let Paqueta go, which I think we kind of gathered because he hasn't been playing amazingly. We need money to invest elsewhere, kind of a no-brainer. But he added that it's something that we've been open to for a while, but that our problem was people weren't prepared to make offers for somebody with a lifetime ban hanging over them, which doesn't come as a big surprise. But he has also said that he expects these clubs to now step up their interest and that West Ham will be looking to make money from his sale and therefore be able to spend it this window. Now, it's definitely a mixed bag in terms of what I want to happen here, because I feel like I'm going to touch on it in a second, but I don't think we should just accept lowball offers for Paqueta. But at the same time, we know that we do need to make money. And this is one of those situations where you're looking at a player that's out of form, probably wants to leave now at this point because he's just fed up with everything FA-wise, and you could get the money from that. So Yeah, it's a very difficult one, but I want to hear your thoughts down below in the comments on, first of all, the whole saga, but secondly, what you think we should do. So he also highlighted in his comments, Mick Brown, the impact of the investigation and his form dropping simultaneously, which is not a coincidence, I'm sure, saying those interested clubs now aren't going to be paying the £60 to £7 million that West Ham would have wanted for him when he was at his best. I think the fee I've heard is around £30 to £35 million that they would consider. And this is the impact of this investigation, is that we're now looking at a player whose value has dropped significantly because they haven't even been able to focus on football. And obviously with that, he's had a couple of shockers of seasons. And I think that bit obviously sums up what the issue is for us. And he also said it's a shame for West Ham and a shame for the player that all of this happened almost for no reason, because now he's been cleared. It's just a huge shame. And that brings me nicely on to Paqueta, because I really do feel for him in this situation, because an innocent verdict means that his career has essentially been destroyed at its peak. But I don't think it's all over for Paqueta. And here's why. Because despite reports saying that we may part ways this window, which of course I understand, I don't think that West Ham should sell Paqueta for peanuts. We are seeing reports of him being worth £30 to £35 million. And personally, given his ability and the fact that he's still got another 2 years on his contract, I think he's worth more. I think he's worth a lot more. But the key to this is going to be showing that he is worth more and that he has still got it in him. So I'm sure that the allegations have played a huge part in Paqueta struggling to focus on football. It was probably the reason he had so much frustration that we saw him show on the pitch. And I now wonder that whether, without this looming over his head, the question is, could we see a newly motivated and reinvigorated Paqueta that plays at his best again? And I hope we can, because with his dip in form, we have seen him go from the most carefree player that enjoyed dancing around players for fun and creating some of the most exciting attacks and confident skills on the pitch, where you would never expect someone to pull off some step over or nutmeg. And he was doing these for fun. And as things closed in on him around this case, we saw this confidence drop, we saw mistakes made, and we saw what was once a happy player look stressed out and show frustration every time he made these mistakes. And we saw his form, obviously, the contributions he had on pitch completely drop, and all of it. And as fans, obviously, when players aren't playing well, you don't necessarily want them being played. You're probably not as supportive. So his whole life will have felt like it was just crumbling from every angle. And my hope is that we can see now what Paqueta can do with all pressure taken back off him. And if we could get another season under Paqueta, I'd be really happy. So hear me out, and here's why. I want a season where he can remind everyone what he's capable of, and whether that means he then goes on to stay at West Ham or go elsewhere, so be it. Graham Potter is known for his ability of communicating well with players. He's spoken positively about how he's appreciated Paqueta's attitude despite everything that's been going on in his personal life and his impact in the dressing room. And we could be ready to see this pick him back up and get him back to the levels, or the kind of levels, or even just close to it, of where he was playing. And the other benefit of this one extra season would be that, alongside hopefully seeing him play well for us again, it would bring that value back up to where it deserves to be, because we paid £7.8 million for him originally. On paper, pay £7.8 million, however many seasons later, sell him for 30 mil, a decent bit of business. But when you're looking at a player that we were only talking about before this case came up, of him being worth 60, 70, 80 million, frustrated about a release clause that was in excess of 80 mil, and you start thinking to yourself, now it doesn't feel like we're getting such a good deal. But I just feel like paying 7.8 million for someone, seeing them play so well and knowing they've got that talent and ability, having big clubs knocking at the door saying that they wanted to pay big sums of money, and then selling him for 30 million would be nothing short of a travesty. And this would be our chance to switch this back to being a very successful signing and a successful piece of business if he wants to leave. It's Paqueta's chance to turn his career back around and remind people he's a baller, and that this could be a happy ending for both parties. Plus, it could give us something to be excited about on the London Stadium pitch this coming season. I definitely think there are a lot of points that need to be taken from this whole situation to make sure this doesn't happen to any other players in the future. The way it was handled by the FA, the stories being leaked to journalists at the worst possible time for the player without being proven guilty, and then the length of time it's taken for all of this to conclude. And even after the verdict was out there, not being able to share it for however long just means that everybody has been ripped apart by these accusations with no proof. But for now, my argument is we have what looks to be an innocent Paqueta who could go on to show us what another season looks like at West Ham, or, as many reports are saying, could be going elsewhere and away from the drama, leaving us some more money to reinvest this summer. But for me, I would love to see what he could do over another season without this massive, massive pressure over his head, because I still believe deep down he's got that ability in there. And I hope that if Potter can just bring it out of him to just go for it, give it a go and see what happens, we might be pleasantly surprised at the ability that he still does have. Because I can't imagine the pressure that he was under and how you would be away from your family and performing at the level that you need to in the Premier League with all of that going on. As much as you try and switch your brain off, it must have massively impacted everything from concentration, sleep, recovery, everything. You name it, I feel like it will have been a problem with literally such a big case that could end your entire career looming over you. So that's my thoughts, but I want to hear yours. So let me know what you think down below in that comment section. Would you like to see Paqueta stay for another season, or would you prefer to get what we can for him so that we can use that to improve the team without him this summer? Also, if you haven't already, please hit the thumbs up button that's just down here, and don't forget to subscribe so you never have to miss out on another West Ham Network update. And tune in as well later today. I'm going to be running through your Hammers headlines for the day. And until next time, thank you so much as always for watching. Hit that thumbs up button, and if you haven't already, thank you so much. Come on, you Irons. Irons.